Tonight, an effort to break up the Clark County School District takes a step forward.
The Community Schools Initiative says it submitted 220,000 signatures to counties across Nevada for verification to get it on the ballot. Fox 5's Drew Andre joining us live from CCSD with the superintendent's response tonight.
Well, Jacqueline, there's been a back and forth for years on whether to break up the country's fifth largest school district. Now, in 2024, voters could see it on the ballot. 300,000 students, one school district.
It's not a one-size-fits-all. Nevada is not.
At least 220,000 Nevadans are supporting allowing breakaway school districts.
The smaller school districts give the opportunity to the students to do better, more parent input, more transparency, more accountability.
Henderson City Councilman Dan Stewart is leading the initiative that aims to let cities and municipalities opt out of their current school districts and form their own. But CCSD Superintendent Jesus Jara calls it a distraction, saying dismantling the economies of scale achieved by CCSD will raise the costs of educating all children and further exacerbate the inequalities impacting our neediest children and violate their rights. He added that Nevada ranks 49th in the nation in funding per student, saying if anything is to change, Nevada must provide more funding and economic rigor to improve educational outcomes. Previous efforts to break up the country's fifth largest school district have been unsuccessful, in part because of a concern that it could leave lower income areas without the resources they need. Supporters of the initiative, though, believe the opposite.
You have Title I schools, you have disadvantaged kids. There's a lot of different categories that kids fall into that should be receiving additional money, either from the state or from the federal government. They are not.
Many hope the 2017 bill passed to allow for reorganization in the district would give more control to schools, handing principals more power to direct district resources. But that hasn't happened. Just under 141,000 signatures must be validated for the measure to qualify, and they have to be spread evenly across the state's congressional districts. If successful, it will head to the state legislature for consideration. And the Clark County Education Association, which is the union that represents teachers, also opposes this initiative, and they say that breaking up CCSD won't fix the systemic issues that lead to staffing shortages. Reporting live tonight, I'm Drew Andre, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
And earlier this year, the initiative received support from 6 Chamber of Commerces, including the one here in Las Vegas, Henderson, and Boulder City.